presentation of the NTRA in association with ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
First came Funny Side's improbable Kentucky Derby. Followed by his dominating Preakness.
Funny Side and Jose Santos turning the Preakness into a runaway.
But then Empire Maker reigned on the Triple Crown Parade.
Funny Side is brought back to third, and Empire Maker has won the 135th Belmont Stakes.
Ever since, we've eagerly anticipated the return of these Triple Crown heroes. Today, the enormously popular Funny Side ships to Monmouth Park for the $1 million Haskall Invitational, along with his charismatic jockey, reticent trainer, and ebullient owners. Meanwhile, Empire Maker returns for the steamrolling team of Bobby Frankel and Jerry Bailey in the $500,000 Jim Dandy at Saratoga. Today, Funny Side and Empire Maker will keep their distance, but there's an intersection ahead on the road to the World Thoroughbred Championship.
Thoroughbred Championships. Powered by Dodge.
Welcome to the Jersey Shore. It's all about the three-year-old stars today, and not just here at Monmouth Park, where they have a record crowd of better than 50,000 on hand, but also up the turnpike at Saratoga and upstate New York, where another wave of sophomores are hoping to have a Jim Dandy of a day. Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Metters. Welcome to the latest mile marker on the road to the World Thoroughbred Championships. Hey, this is a huge day for the three-year-olds. We'll see the best of the class for 2003, including Funny Side, who won 2/3 of the Triple Crown. He accepted the invite to come here to the Haskall Invitational and go against some pretty tough rivals. And also up at Saratoga, you have Empire Maker, who's been awfully good. He spoiled the Triple Crown bid of Funny Side, and he made it awfully tough, and everybody excited to see him back in action. And if you're smelling rivalry, well, you're right on the nose. Everybody thinking about the Travers, fast approaching on August 23rd, the Midsummer Derby. You can see that on ESPN. Well, in terms of winning the Haskall here for Funny Side, it will not be a laugher. He has some pretty tough rivals, including another Bobby Frankel star. Peace Rules. He arrived about 5:45 this morning. And about 7 o'clock, Funny Side, the popular New York bred gelding, he made his way off the van. He's here. He has not raced since the Belmont Stakes. And joining me is Randy Moss. And Randy, continuing on that Travers theme, these two races that we're going to see today are awfully important. 10 of the last 12 winners of the Travers have come out of these two races. Oddly enough, 5 out of the Jim Dandy, 5 out of the Haskall.
And you know, the people here at Monmouth are a little annoyed that the Haskall is referred to a lot of times as a prep for the Travers. And I guess you can't blame them. I mean, it's a $1 million race. The crowd here today, more than 50,000, the largest crowd ever to see a horse race in the state of New Jersey here to see Funny Side. But when you talk to the trainers of the two big horses, they make no bones about it. They are using the Haskall and the Jim Dandy to get ready for the Travers. And even though we are really fired up to see these two races today, we can't help either but to think ahead of what could be a great rematch.
Let's dig a little deeper into the Classic Division. We'll start with our Classic Division rankings, powered by Dodge, and of course also powered by some very good three-year-olds in there. You see Empire Maker, you see Funny Side, basically on the same level there with Medaglia d'Oro, Mineshaft, and Congaree. All right, we haven't had a chance to see Empire Maker or Funny Side since they went head-to-head in the Belmont Stakes. Get us up to date what's happened with these two since then.
They have been living up at Saratoga Springs. There could be worse fates for horses, and Empire Maker has been Funny Side first, has been very relaxed up there, a lot more so than he was before the Belmont, when in his workouts he was a little too keen. Empire Maker, on the other hand, during the break has gotten a little goofy, according to Bobby Frankel. He sort of leans in that direction. But on this workout, July the 26th, they worked him in company. That's Empire Maker on the rail. He was all business, much to the delight of trainer Bobby Frankel.
Let's take a look at these two fields, starting with the Jim Dandy. It is a grade 2. Who can basically put some heat on Empire Maker here?
There are some horses that could definitely make him work for it. For example, Strong Hope, early speed on the rail, won the Dwyer. Taffy has won 2 straight at Belmont Park very impressively. During, trained by Bob Baffert, won the Swap Stakes at Hollywood Park. Congrats. Trained by Shook McGay. He is an improving horse. And down on the bottom, Nachismo, a stretch runner, just barely beaten in the Dwyer.
The Haskall's a grade 1 worth $1 million, and it may not be a laughing matter for Funny Side. He's got some competition here.
A deeper field in the Haskall from top to bottom, and a strong wind that is favoring speed horses right now here at Monmouth. And Peace Rules has speed in the rails. Sky Mesa, who was so good as a 2-year-old, the undefeated Ohio Derby winner, Wild and Wicked. You've got a local and Max Forever at 15-1. There's your favorite Funny Side. And on the outside, 2 long shots who have early speed, especially on the outside, number 7, Excessive Pleasure.
Now, what about the horses that didn't make a name for themselves during the Triple Crown? For that angle, here's Hank Goldberg.
History tells us that there have been some late developing 3-year-olds who have come out of these races and gone on to be champions. Awesome Again comes to mind. Tis Now. There was Wajima, who came out of this race here at Monmouth and went on to become a 3-year-old champion. There are also 4 who are up in New York right now who could be put in that category. The 1-2 runners in the Dwyer, Strong Hope and Nachismo. During won the Swap Stakes, and Tafasile is out of the Kieran McLaughlin barn, and he has been red hot this spring and summer. The Big Ten sends 2 contenders here for the Haskall. Wild and Wicked won the Ohio Derby, and Excessive Pleasure won the Iowa Derby. And speaking of trainers and Bobby Frankel, there's some other guys who have been red hot this summer as well. Todd Pletcher, who trained Strong Hope, set a record for wins at the recent Belmont Week. Meet out at California, Hollywood, excuse me. Doug O'Neill was the leading trainer at the Hollywood meet. He has 64 winners, training Bob Baffert out there by 4 so far this year. And I mentioned McLaughlin. He was over 40% at Belmont. So one of these guys could break through today, guys.
Thank you, Hank. And from one good fella to another good fella, it's got to become a Haskall tradition to see Joe Pesci here. He usually has the great cigar. Well, they haven't needed any paint or a painter over the last couple of years. The Thoroughbred Corporation has claimed the last 2 Haskalls. This jockey, though, is going to get a paint job today.
The road to the World Thoroughbred Championships. Powered by Dodge. This ESPN2 presentation of the Haskall Invitational is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. By Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. By Citgo, we know you. By Budweiser, the best things in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. By Long John Silver's new buckets of crunchy shrimp.
Just a reminder, if you are online, swing by ESPN.com, click on horse racing, news, commentary, and our television schedule there. One-stop shopping, ESPN.com, and click on horse racing. Well, Funny Side has quite a following, and none more colorful than the 10 characters that make up Saratoga Stable. For that story, here's Hank.
Well, I ran into Jack Knowlton, the primary spokesman for the group, earlier, and I said, aren't you guys rich enough now that you can afford a limo? And he said, well, we got one for our trainer, Barkley Tagg, but they're still traveling in that rickety old school bus. One of the most famous buses since Ralph Cramden was driving, the Saratoga Stable buses, arrived for the Belmont Stakes back on June 6th. They had hoped Funny Side would become the 12th Triple Crown winner. That was until the Bobby Frankel-trained Empire Maker foiled their plans. The once-in-a-lifetime experience was both rewarding and exhausting.
We all needed a rest after the Belmont. But I know for me personally, about a little over a week ago when the horses came to Saratoga and Funny Side arrived, and I've had a chance to see him in the morning and his workout on Sunday morning. We're ready. We're anxious to go. Hopefully he can pick up where he left off after the Preakness.
And judging by the depth of today's Haskall, he'll definitely need to pick up where he left off after the Preakness.
It's a great race. I think an excellent field that, is assembled for this. And hopefully we can be successful here and look forward to our rematch with Empire Maker and the Travers.
One thing's for certain. The cheers will be heard from Funny Side's roots in upstate New York all the way to the Jersey Shore.
I think there'll be a lot of fan support up there, as I do here. I mean, you look at what happened at Belmont Park. Jose Santos, I think, was quoted. There were 101,800 some people, and I think 101,000 were cheering for Funnyside. It wouldn't surprise me if we had somewhat of a similar reaction down here. I think that, you know, his fan base extends well beyond, you know, New York. I would think there'll probably be a lot of people from, you know, New York City down here from New York, and, you know, we're bringing down over 100 people ourselves. We know we'll be cheering for him.
Well, as you'll see later, there are all kinds of things you can buy that are attached to Sunnyside. There's Funnyside beer, there's Funnyside t-shirts. I was looking for some Funnyside shorts, of course, of the silk variety. The only horse who gets more promotion than he does right now, of course, is Seabiscuit.
Well, you know, Jack Knowlton touched on that in that story about how tired the owners were after the Triple Crown. What about the horse? And that's the question that we asked Barkley Tagg.
He had about 30 days, pretty easy. And then, because it is a tough campaign, there's 3 races that are, he's coming off of 3 races going into that, and then there's 3 races that are pushed right together pretty close and traveling and all that kind of stuff. So it's a tough campaign for a horse, especially a young horse that's maturing. But he's gotten through it all and came out of it well. We feel very good about him.
All right, Randy, he was ranked coming into the Belmont. He was ranked at the Belmont. How is he now?
Yeah, we made a lot in that pre-Belmont workout where he was sort of raced uncontrollably through the first quarter mile. So far at Saratoga, he's been much more relaxed and much more manageable, which is a good thing. And it's going to be put to the test this afternoon because there's a lot of speed in the race. And a key to the race is how well Funnyside handles being back in the pack.
It will not be easy. And, of course, a huge crowd on hand today. 50,000, and we're pretty lucky. James McGreevy, who is the governor of the state of New Jersey, has stopped by to talk to us along with Jacqueline, his daughter, and let's talk about what it's like to be a part of this great crowd.
Well, it's tremendous. It's a tremendous day for racing in the state of New Jersey, and obviously our administration is working hard to promote racing, and we particularly look forward to 2007 and having the Breeders' Cup come to the great state of New Jersey.
Yeah, you guys have made an official proposal for that. How do you think that looks?
I think we've been very aggressive, and I think we want to celebrate racing in the Mid-Atlantic states. The NTRA has been, I think, impressed by our proposal, our initiatives, and our goal is to make sure that we not only host this great event, but promote racing. And it's so important to our quality of life, open space, and that's why we're all rooting for a cool humor, New Jersey bred here today in the upcoming race.
Oh, so we got your pick there. We'll see you a little bit later on in the winner's circle as you make the presentation in this year's Haskall.
Thanks so much.
Jacqueline's a doll.
I look forward to seeing you in 2007.
Yeah, I hope that's exactly where we are. Well, next up, we're going to ship north to Saratoga, and coming up will be the Jim Dandy Stakes. If you'd like to be an owner, place to go is thegreatestgame.com. We'll be right back here at Monmouth.
Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Thanks. You guys were good. See you guys soon.
Welcome back to Monmouth Park, and hopefully Funnyside will paint a masterpiece this afternoon. That's what his connections are hoping for. Just a reminder, next stop on the road to the World Thoroughbred Championships, the Sword Dancer. The John Deere Turf Division has Denon, and with anticipation, square off again, plus the West Virginia Derby live from Mountaineer Park. And if you're not available for those 2 shows, well, you can catch Randy and I on Long John Silver's Wire to Wire on Tuesdays and Saturdays. For more, go to ESPN.com. Let's talk about the Jim Dandy, the first of our 2 big races today. 40th running, named after a horse that won the 1930 edition of the Travers. It was a 100-to-1 shot, and he beat Triple Crown winner Gallant Fox.
I hate to sound like a broken record here, but if you tuned in yesterday to the Whitney and saw Medaglia d'Oro win, well, it was just a year ago that Medaglia d'Oro and jockey Jerry Bailey and trainer Bobby Frankel won the Jim Dandy in a laugher and then went on to take the Travers as well.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back to the track, here comes Frankel and Bailey one more time. Let's take a look at our horses and our video post-parade, starting with Strong Hope. Sold as a yearling for $1.7 million, career earnings to date about $172,000.
He's trained by Todd Pletcher, who's off to a fast start at Saratoga. And speaking of fast starts, this horse is a confirmed front runner, breaking from the rail with John Velasquez.
The 2 horses, Tavasil, half of his career has been at Nad Al Sheba in Dubai. Since clearing customs, he has won 2 in a row at Belmont.
The K indicates he is a Keeneland graduate. When they gave him Lasix, this is what happened. 2 starts in the U.S., 2 wins by combined winning margins of 14 lengths. Richie Miglioria.
During just won the swaps at Hollywood Park with Jerry Bailey on board. Today, Pat Day is the pilot.
Trainer Bob Baffert's only experience at the Jim Dandy wasn't a good one. Congaree lost at odds on. He'll try to change that with During, also a speed horse.
Congrats, will be making career start number 6, trained by Hall of Famer Shug McGahee.
Never been in stakes company, but he's got the pedigree. He's by APN out of a Mr. Prospector Mare, and if there's any trainer you want with an improving 3-year-old, it's Shug McGahee, and he's a nice-looking colt.
And there is Empire Maker. Frankel trying to win the Jim Dandy Haskell double today. Jerry Bailey trying for his 4th straight and record 5th Jim Dandy.
Yesterday, Jerry Bailey took both of our races, the Whitney and the Amsterdam. He's been red hot here on ESPN, and certainly the crowd expects Empire Maker to continue that.
Kim and Ted Johnson's son picked up the nickname Machismo when he was in college. That name could become a part of Jim Dandy history today.
Machismo, trained by Jimmy Bond, who has been a master at using the Jim Dandy to prep for the Travers. A good-looking chestnut there in his stall. He'll come from off the pace with Jorge Chavez.
All right, here are the current odds up there at Saratoga. You can see Strong Hope right now at 9-1. Awesome Time, trained by Nick Zito, was a scratch. Long Shot and Congrats, and there's Empire Maker. Awfully Strong at 1-5. For more on him, let's go to Hank Goldberg.
Well, I know where the weapons of mass destruction are. They're in Bobby Frankel's barn. Nobody has ever dominated the game the way he has this year. 37 graded stakes winners, 16 of them grade 1s, and as you can see, they're spread over 6 out of 8 Breeders' Cup divisions. Today, Frankel started off his day watching Milwaukee Brew right here at Monmouth, who hadn't been seen since the big cap at Santa Anita, and he just breezed to victory. He's getting ready, we understand, for the Pacific Classic. But Peace Rules has been aimed for this race here at the Haskall. And while Peace Rules has been aimed for the Haskall, of course, the pride of the barn is still Empire Maker.
Bobby Frankel, more to his empire, actually, though, than just Empire Maker, as we've seen. We need to cue up the Star Wars music for Frankel every time he comes. And as I mentioned earlier, he's trying to do something that's only been done twice in history, win the Jim Dandy Haskell double. Hoffman's did it in 97. Walden did it in 99. The $500,000 Jim Dandy is coming up when we come back. First of 2 races today, the Jim Dandy, and this was during the post parade. Randy and During acting up somewhat.
And there you see Pat Day with the ejection seat as he Pat Day runs out of the picture. They remounted Pat aboard During, and During broke the post parade and went off to try to relax a little bit. And there is a shot, not at During, but at Machismo right now. All systems go for During.
In terms of Machismo, we've talked about how hot Karen McLaughlin has been, and Hank, you like this horse?
Because there's so much pace in the race, and the Dwyer, he was the closer in that race, and there's not going to be any load speed this time. There'll be several vying for the lead. Empire Maker, the horse to beat, but this one will be running hard at the finish, Randy.
And Jimmy Bond, the trainer of Machismo, has used this race, the Jim Dandy, so effectively to prep for the Travers. He did it with Will's Way, did it with Barron's, he did it with Raffy's Majesty. They didn't all win the Travers, but they all came out of the Jim Dandy and did very well there.
And the horse to beat right there, Empire Maker. Taffasiel is trained by Karen McLaughlin, and that's a horse that could be a factor here.
Exactly. Taffasiel is a horse that's won his last 2 starts impressively. When you see Empire Maker run in the first part of this race, keep in mind the way he ran in the Florida Derby and in the Preakness and in the Belmont, his 3 most effective races. Up there, 2nd, 3rd, 4th during the early running, several lengths off the pace on the outside, stalking trip. That's the kind of trip Frankel and Jerry Bailey want to see from him today.
5-horse Congrats there, a long shot at 32-1, trained by Shug McGahee.
Congrats was ridden by Edgar Prado in his most recent win, a 5-length win. But, of course, Edgar Prado is here at Monmouth to ride Peace Rules in the Haskell, so they subbed in Mike Luzzy there. And there is a look at Taffasiel. That's the horse with the Shadwell Stable Silks. This horse, I'm telling you, for a long shot, if we had a Bud Long Shot in this race, I think Taffasiel would be the one, because everything here in McLaughlin runs is running lights out. Yesterday in the Whitney, Northern Rock set the pace at 27-1 and held on gamely. So you can look for Taffasiel to have a stalking trip and to have something to say in the outcome of this race, I think.
All right, with the call of the $500,000 Jim Dandy, let's go to Tom Durkin.
Maker in the Machismo. They're in the gate. And they're off. And During breaks sharply going after the early lead, but Strong Hope is sent early by Johnny Velasquez, and those two race for the lead as they move for the clubhouse turn. Empire Maker's in between horses, down toward the inside, Tafasil. Machismo is pumped up today, and he's going on to be fourth. Empire Maker settles back in fifth early, and Congrats will be the early trailer. Moving at a solid pace here early, and it's Strong Hope the leader. Strong Hope 3/4 of a length, During pressing him through a quarter in 23 3/5 seconds. A break of 3 lengths, and Tafasil is running along in third. Machismo is fourth on the outside. And Bailey is unhurried with his Belmont winner. Empire Maker has found a comfort zone about 7 or 8 lengths from the lead. Break of another 2.5 lengths back to Congrats, who trails the field. Running up the backstretch, Strong Hope now lets it out a notch to lead by a length and a half. During second, and Machismo is moving eagerly on the inside. A solid half of 47 seconds flat. Tafasil moves to join the leaders, 4 lengths back, and Empire Maker has not been given his cue yet. They're at the half-mile pole, and just a nudge there from Jerry Bailey. And Empire Maker's got something to do here. He's 7 lengths behind, but now he's beginning to roll. Around the far turn, Strong Hope in front. Tafasil second on the outside. Empire Maker's coming with a giant run on the outside. He sweeps into third position as the field approaches the top of the stretch. But it's Strong Hope trying to do it wire to wire, and he turns for home in front by 2. Tafasil, Empire Maker sweeping on the outside. He has Strong Hope to catch as they come down to the final furlong. Congrats late bit on the far outside. Strong Hope, a stubborn foe today. He's still there. Empire Maker, Bailey's all over him. He can't get by Strong Hope yet. Farther back, Congrats on the outside. They're coming down to the finish. And it is Strong Hope. Final try from Empire Maker. His bid falls a nose short. Strong Hope pulls off the upset. Empire Maker was second on the wire in the Jim Dandy. Congrats was third. The final time was 1:48 flat.
Well, we talked about some hot trainers in there, Kieran McLaughlin, and of course Bobby Frankel red hot, but Todd Pletcher also has the Midas touch in New York.
You know, when you look at this race in hindsight, Empire Maker the 1-5 favorite, but if you look at their last races, okay, the speed figure that Empire Maker, Strong Hope, and Machismo got were all identical. So it's not a huge surprise that a horse like Strong Hope would be able to hold off Empire Maker just barely in this race, because he's a nice horse. He won the Dwyer in wire-to-wire fashion. And today it was a firm pace, 47 for the half, 110 3 for 3/4, but he was able to hold on, just barely hold on.
Winds up being the 6th fastest Jim Dandy in history. A Strong Hope pulls the upset over Empire Maker.
To the World Thoroughbred Championships, powered by Dodge.
And there is Strong Hope. He wins the Dwyer, comes right back now and wins the Jim Dandy, upsetting Empire Maker. He's now won 5 of 6 and about $472,000 in his career. And Randy Moss, he's actually won 5 in a row now.
Owned by Eugene Melnick, who has had a big year earlier this year. He purchased the Ottawa Senators of the NHL, and there is Todd Pletcher on the right of your screen, who is enjoying fantastic success so far at the Saratoga meet. And there is a look at Empire Maker in the back of the pack in his 4 previous career wins. The furthest he was behind in those races, 3 3/4 lengths, and he was at least 7 or 8 behind down the backstretch, coming off that leisurely pace of the 1.5-mile Belmont. Strong Hope getting leg weary in the last 16th of a mile. A nice charge by Empire Maker coming up just short. But keep in mind, the Jim Dandy is 1 1/8 miles. The Travers coming up in 3 weeks is 1 1/4 miles, and Empire Maker went on by Strong Hope after the finish of this race. But take nothing away from Strong Hope. I mean, he was on the engine all the way around, just like he was in the Dwyer, and still managed to get the job done.
It is official, and he pays well. 15:40, 3:30, and 2:10. As I mentioned, the time, the 6th best in Jim Dandy history. But the good news is that he galloped out well, and Empire Maker passing him there. So I'm sure Bobby Frankel will keep him on track for the Travers.
And a nice effort from third place. Congrats from the McGahee barn, Claiborne Farm, also earning something, earning a bid probably in the Travers. And the Machismo, a very disappointing effort. He was ranked around the first turn, made a premature move at the half-mile pole with Jorge Chavez, and wasn't around for the finish.
All right, now we kind of put everything back in perspective, moving back to the Haskall, our first big race. An upset there as Empire Maker goes down. The field for today's Haskall, they're saying, is probably the best one they've had since, say, 1987.
Where did you come up with that one? 1987.
Oh, yeah.
That's perfect. That was the year. Ali Sheba bet twice and lost code. Met here in the Jersey Shore. Bet twice had just spoiled Ali Sheba's bid at the Triple Crown. Ali Sheba winning the Kentucky Derby in the Preakness. Lost code, not a bad horse either. Let's take you back 16 years ago for the Haskall.
Lost code on the inside, bet twice on the outside, bet twice getting ahead in front. Lost code still right there with Ali Sheba now closing on the far outside. It's bet twice on the outside, lost code along the rail with Ali Sheba closing fast. Bet twice has the lead with Ali Sheba on the outside a second.
3 across the track, and in the middle it was bet twice edging his rival Ali Sheba.
If you're looking for some Breeders' Cup ties here, 13 Haskall starters have gone on to run in the Breeders' Cup Classic. 2 of those won the Classic as 3-year-olds. It happened in 1994 with Concern and in 1999 with Cat Thief. This is also a handicap. These horses are weighted. Do the weights make a difference today?
Weight does make a difference. I've kind of modified my handicapping opinion on that quite a bit over the years, actually. And for example, Funny Side is top weighted at 123, spotting anywhere from 2 to 8 pounds to the field. If Funny Side and let's say Wild and Wicked were to come to the wire heads apart with a 5-pound spread, then certainly you'd have to say that weight had some kind of an impact.
All right, now let's drift on over to the paddock, and that's where we find Hank Goldberg.
Speaking of Wild and Wicked, we've got Ken McPeak, who's not either of those things, but you're so high on this horse, you say bring on all comers. He's as good as any 3-year-old can beat any of these 3-year-olds.
It's time to test him. He's not been beaten in the morning or the afternoon. He's acted like he's extremely special, and of course we're going to learn a whole lot about him today, but he's trained super into the race, and we're very confident.
Ken, you've been quoted as saying this is the best 3-year-old you've ever had. Is it the versatility? Because he's won on an off track, won sprinting, and in the Ohio Derby won from a little bit off the pace going a distance.
Well, actually what I said is he might be. He's got a lot to prove yet, but he's a horse, you know, his first career start was incredibly impressive. He runs a 97 buyer figure in his first start, which I have never had a horse run that fast first time out. But he does things with ease, and you know, we think he's got a huge future, and we hope this is just the beginning.
We've seen him just now winning the Ohio Derby, coming from a little bit off the pace. Where would you like to see him today? Is there going to be a lot of speed up front that concerns you? Think he'll be coming from far back, or where would you like to have him?
Well, it's a rider's race, and I actually have given Shane Sellers carte blanche here. It's up to him, and you know, you don't always know how these things are going to unfold. I'm not going to try to guess, and he needs to use, you know, what he knows about this horse to decide.
Okay, Ken. All the best to you. Always great to talk with you. And let's go back to Jeff.
You could hear the loud cheer, and that was when Funny Side made his way onto the track. The horses are on the track for the post parade. But let's take a look at our video post parade for this year's field in the Haskall. And it starts with Peace Rules. He's coming back off a 77-day layoff.
Owner Ed Gadd, trainer Bobby Frankel won the Whitney yesterday with Medaglia d'Oro. Interesting spot for Edgar Prado today. Speed in the rail in what promises to be a pretty fast-paced race.
Sky Mesa is somewhat of a mystery. Unbeaten at the age of 2. Had a big layoff due to some injuries. Only one race this year was this summer. He was 3rd in the Dwyer.
There's the Keeneland K, again signifying that he's a Keeneland sales graduate. Trainer John Ward was happy with his 3rd place finish in the Dwyer since it was his first start after a long layoff.
Wild and Wicked unbeaten in 3 starts, and as we just heard, trainer Kenny McPeak is a big fan.
Don't know what to think about Wild and Wicked. He's 3 for 3 lifetime, but I think he's going to be pretty far back in the pack here. He's shown some speed, but there's a lot of speed in this race. It'll be an interesting call.
Here's the Long Branch winner, Max Forever. He draws the lightest weight in the field, and this is the most distance he's ever faced.
Max Forever is trained by Ben Perkins. Will be ridden today by Jose Ferrar, and right now Max Forever is a pretty big price on the board at 27-1.
Next is Funny Side. Jose Santos just won the ESPY for Top Jockey.
Funny Side, of course, a huge following, probably the biggest story of the year in horse racing, along with Seabiscuit. And there is Funny Side romping home in the Preakness. It's that kind of trip that they're hoping for today, obviously.
Cool Humor, same sire as Funny Side. Difference in career earnings, though, about $1.8 million.
He has been racing at Lone Star Park in Texas. There he is winning the Ali Sheba Breeders' Cup. This was a 7-furlong race, though. But he's coming home. He's a New Jersey bred.
Last but not least, Excessive Pleasure, who's making his 8th straight start in stakes company.
His 2 biggest wins have been the WinStar Derby at Sunland Park and the Iowa Derby at Prairie Meadows. Quite a step up in class here. Trainer Doug O'Neill expects him to be in front early, and he's 25-1.
All right, let's take a look at the current odds. Funny Side right now at 6-5. Peace Rules at 5-2. Funny Side the legitimate long shot, or is it going to be that sentimental favoritism that pushes him over the top?
I think that is a pretty accurate assessment right there of the relative merits of the horses in the field. I mean, I figured Funny Side would be around 6-5, and I really don't see anything on the line there that I consider to be really out of line, so to speak.
And there is